Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who is joining us now via phone. Governor, welcome. It comes at a time where we've learned 200 Israelis have been killed, hundreds have been injured, hostages and prisoners of war have been taken by Hamas militants. What is your message to the people of Israel?
America stands with Israel. They have not only the right but the duty to defend themselves, and they need to defend themselves with overwhelming force. This is a terrorist attack, which is the equivalent to what we suffered on 9/11, given the size of Israel, and we may see much more in terms of some of the carnage that comes out over the ensuing hours and even days. And so this is something that we all need to stand with them. I don't want to see the United Nations censoring Israel for responding. I don't want to see media trying to distort and blaming Israel for this. Israel was attacked. Israel should defend itself. We also need to understand what is the source of this terrorism, and the source is Iran. Iran is funding Hamas. Iran is funding Hezbollah, who may be getting into this fight. That has been made possible by the Biden administration loosening sanctions. Iran's made much more on oil revenue under the Biden administration, and then this more recent $6 billion. They're saying, oh, well, that money could not be used for that, and that may be true, but money's fungible. So when you give them money, $6 billion for something, that's they don't need to use their own money for that, and then they can shift it. And so that's what's happened. And they've really empowered some really, really bad people, and they've been doing it for years and years. So we just need to understand Iran is a big problem. Biden has empowered Iran, and we need to turn the screws and stop giving Iran a free ride. Put them in the box. Make sure that there's strong, tight sanctions. Make sure they suffer economically and geopolitically for all the havoc that they're causing around the world.
Governor, we saw the President of the United States meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the UN General Assembly. It was not in Washington, D.C. It was not at the White House. Could you talk to me about your personal relationship with Netanyahu, and how might that differ from that with the current President of the United States?
Well, I have a great relationship with him because I respect him and I appreciate what he's trying to do for the people of Israel. And we would have a very strong U.S.-Israel relationship. I think Biden has been very petulant with how he's dealing with Prime Minister Netanyahu. I think he's been very disrespectful. And, you saw him make a statement. First of all, he didn't even roll out of bed until like 7:30, they said. The attack started in the very wee hours of the morning. He's the President of the United States. Our strongest ally in the Middle East is under attack, and he's just sleeping through the night. We need a president that's going to be able to respond to those 3 a.m. phone calls and show some leadership. But he does not have the strong passion with Israel. It seems like he was just going through the motions with the statement that he made. And I wonder if behind the scenes, although he said they can defend themselves, is he then going to be trying to kneecap the Israelis behind the scenes out of public view? I could tell you, if I were president, we would be full throttle supporting them. We'd be very public with the support. People are asking, like, well, does U.S. need to be? Israel can defend themselves. They've got a great military. They've got all that. What they have lacked in the past is the feeling that they could go all out to root out these terrorist enemies, because you had so much hostility in the world barreling down on Israel, the UN, European countries, Arab countries, and even some American administrations. Those days got to be over. They need to go big on this, because this is going to continue to be an issue. I remember years ago, I called for them to root out Hamas's terrorist networks entirely, because I feared that something like this could happen. And I'll tell you this, just reflecting on what's happening, we should be mindful in our country. We've had 7 million people at a minimum pour in across our border, and we don't know who these people are. And they've come from places like Russia and China and Iran and other parts of the Middle East. And I predicted publicly, and I hope I'm wrong, but I've said with what Biden's done at the border, there will eventually be a terrorist attack in the United States that you can trace for someone coming across the border. So he has put the American people in really significant jeopardy with how lackluster he's been with defending our own country.
A record number of illegal border crossings at the U.S. southern border. We have seen those numbers. We've followed those reports. That is the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, joining us remotely to comment on the war in Israel. Thank you very much, Governor, for taking the time.